Okay, so Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. If you were anywhere near Winter Garden, Florida yesterday, you definitely heard it.
Oh, yeah.
It's that sound, that very specific rhythmic crack of thousands of titanium faces hitting golf balls all at once.
It is a total sensory overload, but in the best way possible. We are talking about the Orange County National Golf Center. I mean, it's a 42-acre circular range.
42 acres.
Over 7,000 pros, media, insiders, and you've got balls flying in literally every direction. It's just wild.
It's the world's largest professional outdoor demo day. It is basically the Super Bowl of golf equipment. But, looking through all the coverage from yesterday, the vibe feels different this year.
It does.
For the last, decade? The headline has always been more speed, more distance. But you look at the new stuff from Callaway, TaylorMade, Ping, and it really feels like we've finally hit a ceiling.
A ceiling is exactly the right way to put it. The industry has pretty much maxed out what physics and, more importantly, the USGA will allow for raw distance.
Right.
You can't make the face any springier because of the COR limits. That's a hard stop. You can't make the head bigger than 460 cc. So the whole narrative had to shift. We are not in the raw distance era anymore. We have, I think, moved firmly into the age of system integration.
System integration.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds a little bit like corporate jargon.
It does. It does.
But when you actually dig into the specs on these new drivers, it's really the only move the engineers have left. They have to make the club smarter because they just can't make it hotter.
Precisely.
So let's start with the driver war, because that's where this pivot from, hitting it far to hitting it smart is just the most obvious.
Absolutely. And in past years, the whole battleground was just ball speed. Who has the highest number? This year, it's all about stability.
And a new acronym.
Yes. The big engineering shift is from just talking about MOI, moment of inertia, to now talking about POI, product of inertia.
Okay, that distinction is so crucial for everyone listening. You see those acronyms thrown around in every ad. So MOI is basically resistance to twisting, right?
Yeah, when you hit it off center, high MOI just means the club doesn't wobble as much in your hands at impact.
It's forgiveness.
Correct. MOI is forgiveness after you've already hit it. POI, which Cobra and TaylorMade are kind of obsessed with this year, is about the physics of the club during the swing.
Before you hit it.
Exactly. It's how the center of gravity lines up with the shaft to help the face return to square almost automatically.
So, okay, MOI saves you when you miss the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And POI helps you find the sweet spot in the first place.
That's the perfect way to frame it. Yeah. One manages the mistake, the other one prevents it.
Let's look at Callaway first. They launched the Quantum family. And yes, for anyone checking the show notes who remembers their trademark filings,
I know where you're going with this.
they finally hired someone who can spell quantum. No QAUNTYM nonsense this time.
A small victory for literacy and a big one for engineering. The tech under the hood is it's significant. They've debuted this Triforce face.
Which, from reading the breakdown, it sounds less like a normal club face and more like some kind of composite sandwich.
It is a sandwich, and it solves this massive problem. See, titanium has a yield strength. If you make it too thin to get more speed, it just cracks.
Right.
So Callaway layered it. You have this ultra-thin titanium on the outside for, impact durability and compression.
And then there's carbon fiber behind that for tension. But the really interesting part is that middle layer.
Yeah.
The poly mesh.
Exactly. It's a military-grade polymer. But here's the twist. Unlike older attempts to use polymers, which were all about making the head stiffer, this is for controlled flexibility.
So like a shock absorber.
A perfect analogy. It disperses the energy out to the perimeter of the face.
So instead of having one little hot spot the size of a dime, this polymer lets the whole face flex more uniformly.
Precisely. It democratizes the sweet spot. It basically tricks the ball into thinking it was hit dead center, even when you catch it way out on the toe.
And you notice their marketing, right? There's no 10 yards longer guarantee this year.
Nope.
It's just the system works. They're confident the consistency alone will lower your scores, even if your absolute best drive isn't technically any further.
And they have 5 models, but looking at the early testing data, the one that really stood out was the Triple Diamond Max.
Which is funny because Triple Diamond is usually code for Tour Pros only do not touch.
It usually is. Yeah, low spin, super unforgiving. But this Max version, it kind of bridges the gap. It tested with a neutral to fade bias, which better players love because it eliminates that big left miss.
But it's forgiving.
But it has the forgiveness of a game improvement driver. It's a bit of a unicorn club in that way.
Okay, so then you have TaylorMade with the QI4D,
Mm.
and I have to assume the 4D means they've added another dimension to the design process.
They have. The 4 dimensions they're talking about are airflow, inertia, center of gravity, and the new one, impact efficiency. And to get there, they analyzed 11 million shots.
11
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
That is a staggering amount of data to process.
It really is. And the big insight they got from it is that golfers generally fall into one of 3 rotation profiles. They call them active, balanced, and hold.
And hold would be the player who sort of guides the ball, doesn't really release their hands, and usually blocks it right.
Often, yeah. Or just any player with less hand rotation through impact. But what TaylorMade is saying is you can't just fit for swing speed anymore. You have to fit for how a player actually delivers the club face.
So the adjustment is key.
It's everything. The QI4D core model has 4 white ports now, the trajectory adjustment system, so you can physically move mass around to match that player's rotation profile.
It's hyper-customization.
Yeah.
It's way beyond just stiff or regular.
It's biomechanics.
And then on the other end of that spectrum, you've got ping, just doing what ping does best, the G440K.
The K stands for 10K MOI. They broke that 10,000 barrier last cycle with the G430 10K, but the knock on that club was that the head was huge and you couldn't adjust it at all.
A sledgehammer.
Just a straight flying sledgehammer.
And now it's adjustable. That seems to be the big leap.
It is. They figured out how to engineer a movable weight track into that 10K head without sacrificing the stability. And that is a heavy engineering lift, because moving parts almost always lower your MOI.
Before we leave the tee box, we have to mention the mini driver comeback, Cobra's King Tech MD, the Titleist GT280. It feels like this category is finally sticking around.
Oh, for sure. And it makes total sense. For a lot of amateurs, a 460cc driver head is actually intimidating. It's hard to control. A 280cc head feels more like a 3-wood, but it hits like a driver.
A very specific tool.
But for tight courses, it's lethal.
So the story with drivers is all about maximizing efficiency because they can't legally maximize speed. But if you walk over to the putting green, that is where the tech just seems to be sprinting.
I would argue putting tech is moving faster than anything else in golf right now. We're seeing a complete departure from the old block of steel on a stick mentality.
And the Cobra 3DP Tour series is the prime example. We've seen 3D printing in prototypes, but this looks like a full-scale production change.
It's multi-jet fusion printing. And here's why that matters. It isn't just about looking cool. If I hand you a milled steel putter, the weight is where the steel is. I can't really move it.
Right.
With 3D printing, Cobra creates an internal lattice structure. Think of like a complex honeycomb inside the putter head.
Which is mostly empty space, mostly air.
Exactly. It's mostly air. And that removes all this inefficient mass from the center and lets them push literally all the weight to the absolute perimeter.
Creating a stability you just couldn't get otherwise.
It creates a resistance to twisting that is physically impossible with traditional milling. It's a game changer.
And they pair that with their descending loft face tech.
Yep. 4 different locks on the face, top to bottom. So it doesn't matter if you hit up on the ball or down on it. The launch angle stays consistent. You get an immediate true roll instead of a skid.
Okay, then there's Odyssey. They aren't printing lattices, but they are changing the whole balance point with this two-square idea.
This is the toe-up concept. If you balance a normal putter on your finger, the toe hangs down. Gravity is actively trying to pull the face open.
Okay.
Odyssey balanced these new putters so the toe points straight to the sky.
Which means during the stroke, the putter wants to stay square on its own.
It removes the torque. Your hands don't have to fight the club's weight to keep it square. It's essentially point and shoot. For any player who gets a little twitchy or has the yips, this could be a massive help.
I do love that in the middle of all this sci-fi tech lattices and torque balancing, Mizuno just sets up a booth and says, here is a beautiful piece of forged steel.
The M-Craft City Series, the Kyoto, Osaka, Nagoya, Tokyo, just forged 10E25E carbon steel with a copper underlay.
It's like the vinyl record of putters.
That is a perfect analogy. It's for the player who says, I don't want a robot, I want feel. It's such a beautiful contrast to the Cobra and proves there's still room for pure artistry in the game.
Well, speaking of not wanting a robot, let's talk about the data explosion. Because, frankly, the most shocking thing at the entire show wasn't a club, it was a golf ball.
The genius ball.
This sounds like something that shouldn't be real yet, but it was there and it was working. A ball with a chip inside it.
Embedded microelectronics, and somehow it survives the impact and transmits data velocity, skid distance, launch angle straight to your phone.
Just think about the implications of that. I mean, usually to get putting data like skid rates, you need a quad or a TrackMan. You're talking $20,000 hardware.
And now the hardware is the ball itself. It's the ultimate democratization of data. You can be on a random putting green at your local muni and get lab-quality feedback just by looking at your phone.
Yeah, if you can find the ball after you hit it, I'd be terrified to lose a $15 golf ball in the rough.
That is the one downside. But just for practice, it's revolutionary.
We also saw FlightScope flexing its muscles. The Mevo Gen 2 is apparently sold out everywhere.
Fusion tracking is the key there. It combines radar plus a camera. The camera reads the spin. The radar tracks the flight.
So you're not getting estimated spin anymore.
You're getting measured actual data. For a serious player, or especially a club fitter, that distinction is everything.
And they're trying to roll this out to driving ranges, too.
The Range Gen 2 system. The goal is that every single bay at your local range gives you stats. You're not just, beating balls into the darkness anymore. You're tracking your carry and dispersion on every shot.
It just fits the whole theme. Everything is getting smarter. Even the ball picker. Did you see the Robber Ranger?
The autonomous picker. It looked like a giant Roomba just roaming the range.
I give it a week before people are actively aiming for it.
Oh, 100%. It's the ultimate target. But alongside that, there's this thing called on-pin verify. This is AI for pace of play using passive RFID tags.
They claimed it cuts 21 minutes off a round. That seems wildly optimistic, but if it's even close to true.
It works by identifying bottlenecks before they become a traffic jam. It tells the course marshals exactly where to go to keep things moving. If that actually works, it's the best invention at the whole show, period.
Agreed. I would trade 10 yards of distance for a guaranteed 4-hour round any day of the week.
Every single time.
All right, let's wrap up with the experience itself, because demo day used to be kind of quiet, just the sound of impact and some polite clapping. This year, it looked like a festival.
It's that vibe shift we've been tracking. Golf isn't just about the score anymore. It's also about entertainment. The Drive for Show live event was a huge part of that.
Hosted by Michael Collins and Hallie Ledbetter. And the notes say Hallie was driving the range picker.
The segment was called Hit Me With It. She's literally in a caged range picker interviewing CEOs and celebrities while pros are just ripping drives at the cart.
That is the top golfification of the PGA Show. Just pure, wonderful chaos.
It is, and it works. It brings this amazing energy. You had influencers breaking panes of glass, hitting flop shots over walls, and the celebs showed up. Bryson DeChambeau was there, hitting these incredible punch shots out of the deep rough.
And Matt Kuchar almost aced the 17th.
Stopped 2 inches short. The place went absolutely insane. Even Kelvin Johnson Megatron was there, talking about neuroscience and focus in golf.
It just highlights that the turn isn't just a sad hot dog anymore. They had breweries, food trucks, even cigar lounges set up.
The modern club experience is social first. The equipment is serious, the data is serious, but the environment around it all is loose. It's a really compelling mix.
So we pull this all together for the listener.
Yeah.
We've really gone from a focus on how far can it go to how smart is the system.
That's the big takeaway. The manufacturers have realized they can't legally give you more raw power. So instead, they're giving you consistency. They're using polymesh and carbon layers and 3D lattices to make the equipment correct your mistakes for you.
And then they're giving you the data to prove it, with smart balls and personal logs monitored.
Exactly. The entire tool set that used to be exclusive to tour pros is now available to basically anyone with a credit card.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If I have a driver that auto-corrects my face angle with its POI, and a putter that refuses to twist because of a 3D lattice, and a ball that tells my phone exactly what I did wrong.
Where does the player end and the machine begin?
Right. Are we reaching a kind of skill ceiling that's imposed by the technology itself? If the gear is masking all my flaws, am I actually getting better? Or am I just getting better at operating a very expensive, very smart machine?
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? But I think most golfers standing over a 4-footer to break 80 will probably take all the help the machine can give them.
I know I will. Get fitted, enjoy the 2026 season, and maybe try to leave the robot picker alone at your local range. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you on the tee.